and welcome to the latest episode of AV Jam. This week we are live from Warrington Wolves Stadium, up the Wolves, or is it up the something or other? Anyway, so today's special is Room 101, where we've got our three panellists who are going to tell us what doesn't butter their parsnips in the world of AV. We've got Mr. Kev Talbot, Mr. Jason Ward, and Mr. Noel Kennedy. Okay, so let's get started. So, I asked you before to pick a number from 1 to 100, and the number I was looking for was 0.25. Jason got closest with around 30-ish.
I'll win again.
So we will go to you first, Jason. What's
can't be close. I got close. So, 2 years ago, I put a blog up on LinkedIn, my open letter to vendors, to not keep assembling clones with their salespeople.
Okay.
And it's just the same as 2 years ago, and they're still taking that very corporate approach when they deal with us, and I don't like it.
Do you mean kind of in person, or do you mean by email, or just the whole piece?
The whole routine.
Yes.
It's when they come and present to our sales team, they'll come and they'll say, "Oh, right, we're going to do the slides now, and the slides will be, here's a picture of our office, and this is how long we've been running for, and all the rest of it." And it's just that I've just assembled a nationwide sales team to listen to 10 minutes of this. And it's like, not once did they say, how can we help grow your business?
I hate the picture of the office. Who cares what your office is? Here's some bricks. Oh, how impressive. There's a roof on their office. It's amazing, isn't it? I always think as well that they're missing a bit of pizzazz. So I'd buy off someone, say a screen manufacturer comes in. Imagine this, you're all sitting there waiting in the meeting room, a little bit of smoke starts to come under. They've got a smoke machine. There's a smoke machine fails. They come in, they're like, "Way, music's playing." They're high-fiving everyone as they're coming in. And they're like, boom, I'd buy a thing.
That's a new sales technique.
Yeah, a few indoor fireworks.
Do you do that?
I would do.
We now know how he does it. See, I remember this blog, and the bit of this I love the most is a certain person who responded, and the way that they responded, literally just, they were the epitome of that blog. Just the way they responded with that generic
The best follow-up was, everyone rang me. Does that include me? So the simple answers in the blog, if I'm engaged with you, in regular contact with you, it doesn't include you. If I'm blanking your emails, it does include you. You're not ticking the right boxes for this guy to want to come back to you and work with you.
Is there one, even particular, one sentence they always say, or a generic statement they always use in PowerPoints, or is it just the office that really?
No, not just the office, but turning up with a slide deck prepared by corporate HQ that doesn't in any way reflect what we want to know about their business. But the best providers, let's turn this on its head and put this positively, turn up and talk about wallet share, relevant wallet share, how they can work with us to grow our business. And when we say, do you know what, leave that line and put that in abeyance, they listen and they don't talk about that product line. But the ones that just keep hammering, "I've got to sell you every product because my boss told me to and I'm KPI'd on it," sod off! Yeah. Get out! That's my thinking.
What do you think is the kind of the optimal time for a presentation? Because I often find that I get a bit bored after about 20 minutes.
20 seconds.
About 35 seconds.
I was going to say 120 seconds. 2 minutes.
You're nicer than me. I've seen multiple squirrels by that point.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's move on to Kev then. So, Kev, what's grinding your gears, as they say?
So, I don't want to break this shiny
Drop my laptop.
surface.
Yeah.
And it's not Disney films.
Okay.
I hate Disney. Yeah. The world of AV has gone wrong because of Disney.
Damn Italian.
Wooden boys. Liars.
Okay.
So I've gone round in circles trying to decide what it was for me that I hated. And I've gone back to the oldest thing. So with a bit of the story, for 10 years now in AV, for the first 7-8 years, I did nothing but focus on product and design. Didn't speak to anyone, didn't want to speak to anyone, didn't know what was happening in the world of AV.
Yeah.
just focused on designs and making sure it was right. And from being probably 6 months into this, you get so fed up and so wound up and so pissed off with the constant, this product does this, we will do this, we will, and nothing happens. Products come, it does half of what they tell you.
Yeah.
But as Mark Coxon said in one of our previous jams, you test it, right?
Of course you've got to test it, but yeah, you've got to test it. You've got to test it, but you won't.
But we've got to test it because of the lighters.
But you test it for yourself, but yes, you have to test it because of the lighters. The problem being is, I'm going to get that and expect it to do X, Y, Z. Now, yes, fair enough, if I test it myself, I can probably find them issues within an hour or so, and you're not on site and you're wasting 2 days.
Okay.
Why should I waste 2 hours? Why should I waste all them hours finding out what you've already promised me? That's the bit for me. It just absolutely cheeses me off. But that's not just manufacturers.
Okay.
That is disties. That is even taking it kind of closer to an integrator and competitors, and even ourselves. The people that when they will go out and they will do a design because this design will do this, you have got more chance of platting shit than that actually achieving that goal.
It's like Microsoft coming in and being like, if you plant these magic beans, you'll suddenly have the Microsoft Surface Hub 2.
Yeah.
It'll be round the corner.
And genuinely that is it. And we go up against competition and you'll go in and you'll sit in a room with Mr. End User and they'll say, okay, well, we want to do this. Oh, well, to do this, you need that massive jiggery pokery there that cost 40 grand more and only achieves 20% of what you're asking. That it just doesn't.
Or, as we both know, you get the flip side of that, where you get it for practically free and it will do everything.
Of course. And then you end up losing out to someone who gives it away for free. Yeah. Only for then you get the begging email or phone call 6 months later to say, yeah, maybe we should have come with you in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm guessing that is the same in all walks of life. Okay. But for me, for AV, when we're doing this, surely the whole point of us doing this in any position that you're in any vertical is you're meant to be singing the praises of AV.
Imagine if car manufacturers did it.
Well, you're meant to be progressing AV. Don't make us look like fools.
Yeah. I was just going to say, imagine if car manufacturers did it. You walk into BMW, you know, have you got adaptive cruise? Yeah. Your car gets delivered and it's like, oh, no, it doesn't do that.
Yeah, your car gets delivered and it's a free wheeler which has independent trailers on the back of it.
Well, it might grow a fourth wheel in the next kind of
That's in the next release.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, can't wait for that massive firmware update, which means replacing it anyway. Yeah, so that for me is, if we're going to do it right.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Okay, so Mr. Noel is the last one to go. What's bothering you?
What's bothering me? Email.
Email is just across the board.
Right, email. Okay. But realistically, the issue I have with email is the way people use it.
Okay.
And I don't know whether I've got too young or too old or where I sit in all of this at the moment, the generations. But the one that winds me up the most, similar to you, is the email introduction without any phone call, without any understanding of what's going on, and just because I've found your job title on LinkedIn, I'm going to email you, and this is going to be all the great stuff that we're going to do for you, and you're going to love it. And actually,
it's always hello. We often get hello Involve or hello Martin Dawes or someone like that.
I've had a couple to me as hello Martin Dawes.
Yep.
You know my name's Kev. You've sent my email.
It's like when you're at a wedding and you kind of get introduced to a relative that you should know the name of, but you don't. You're kind of like, hello mate. All right, buddy.
Exactly.
And you start using all these weird terms.
And that's it.
And the presumptuous nature of those emails. I got one just the other day of, I'm your new product specialist for Product X, and I want to come in and do training. And I'm thinking, no, you won't. You're just not. Delete. See you later.
to this morning, one of the ones this morning was great. We want to show you how to be better salespeople. You don't even know it's a tool.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're saying we're bad salespeople?
How do you know?
I took offence to it, and I believe it.
How do you know we're bad? That's only for us to know, not you.
But this doesn't stop, right? So it's not just about the introductions. It's also about people that are trying to build relationships and relying on email to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I understand that every now and again you do need to send some emails, right? So it's not about getting rid of email. It's about using it correctly. If you do all of your communication via email, you're doing it wrong.
Can we not just get rid of email though? As a question to put out there, can we not just get rid of email?
Fine by me.
Well, apparently Elon Musk doesn't use email, so if he can do it.
Well, if he can do it, we can.
Why can't he do that?
I think as well that they make up for a lack of kind of a face-to-face interaction by putting lots of smiley faces in emails. That's why you always see that. From people you don't really know. You're like, hey Chris, smiley face. Wait,
The ones that do me.
What's happening? You're trying to build something over this email.
The ones I get with
pile of bad news, smiley face. Not having that.
The best ones I've seen is where it's them generic ones where it's insert name here.
Yeah.
But as they're writing that generic one, they're speed typing it and then they're just going to change the name, but don't realise that they put a kiss on the end. What's that all about?
I like the art of as well when you're really annoyed with someone. Right, I do this because I'm like when you're subtle. Instead of putting kind regards, oh no, it's regards now. You're in trouble. It's gone down.
There's nothing kind about this.
Yeah.
Thanks. And it's, no, he's losing. He's losing it.
Or even worse, I look forward to your prompt reply.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that is a big one.
That's the killer one, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how you're going to pick, because I can't.
Okay, so that was actually pretty difficult to choose, but I would have to say that the thing that I'll be putting into room 101 would be emails. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. So we'll see you next time. I won't, but these three will. Bye-bye.
See you on the next jam. You've still got no points.
This is bullshit. This is a disgrace.
Don't worry, Kev. Some you win, some you lose. I bet after his win, Noel is flying high. But to be fair, that was his big performance. Some of our friends in the AV industry have shared what ruffles their feathers, but from what I've seen, I think they're just winging it. Anyway, let's start off with mine. So here you go. Okay, so I put LinkedIn to room 101, mainly because of two reasons. Firstly, you find yourself getting a notification, you're like, oh, I've got a notification. But it turns out it's just a notification because it's Mary's birthday, or Peter's been at this printing agency for 10 years. Say congrats. No one really cares. Don't give me notifications unless there's something I'm actually interested in. The second reason is because you always see these posts about, oh, just come out of a really collaborative meeting. And in the picture, you've got some really old looking rubbish chairs, and at the front of the room, there's a flip chart and a whiteboard. This isn't the 90s, people. If you're going to have these collaborative meetings, then at least use the right sort of kit. It's 2019.
You know, for me, God, man, I use the most worn out phrase on the planet, which is good enough. I can't stand good enough. Even when I say it at home, it's horrible. I cringe when I have to tell even my wife when she's like, you know, could you have maybe patched and painted the nail that you took out of the wall? I'm like, but the frame is going right over it. It's good enough. It's yeah, well, it does, man. I mean, I see red. My wife looks at me like I'm, you know, like I'm some heathen. It's bad, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just said that phrase. I hate it with a passion, and it is. It's something that we have in AV. It's the good enough, and the mentality of the good enough comes from when we can't understand something. We try to. When it's oversimplified, right now, AV is going through that transition to become very simple, right? So we went from being magicians and wizards, right, to being now simpletons, right? Somewhat simpletons. Simpletons. You know, so the medieval, you know, magic wizards and for all you D&D fans out there who watch this, you got your wizards and you got your peasants, you know, or simpletons. It's one extreme or the other. And when we don't understand in that middle, we'll just say it's good enough because we can't judge whether is it in the simplicity that it's good enough or is it just us being lazy? And I think a lot of it is just defeatist attitude where we're just like, it is what it is. Well, that comes with, that's usually the response to good enough.
Yeah.
So
I hate that.
my 1 second video of complaints. It's that, dude, you went to school. You've been doing this for 10, 15 years plus. Put some freaking effort into this. Think outside the box. Be a little creative in your solution. Do it one way. I knew it was a freaking. Now you got me pissed because there's more than one way to pass a wire from the floor to the ceiling, and you got to walk away. Now let me tell you something. Don't ever say good enough anymore. I don't want to hear this anymore.
I sing on whistle.
What would I put in the AV Jam Room 101? I think the best thing I could put in would be the daily commute that people still have to do in 2019. I think it's crazy that in this day and age we still force ourselves into small little carriages like this and like this.
Good morning and welcome to Victoria.
Every single day to go into work. So why would you want to spend 2 hours a day of your life commuting every day into the office? It's not like we don't have great tools that allow us to collaborate from anywhere, and the network and the bandwidth to allow us to do great video collaboration and great audio anywhere. So the daily commute, that's my vote for the AV Jam Room 101. Keep up the great work, guys, and keep on jamming.
AV Jam. Hey, thanks for having me on. You want me to say a few words about AV as a service? AV as a service must die. It must die now. I mean, all right, I'm going to speak for 95% of us tech managers out there. We don't want it. Get rid of it. Talk to me when you can figure this out. You know, tell me why it's not a lease, but it's a lease, and it's not a lease, but I'm paying like it's a lease, and you're just calling it a subscription instead. Come on, people. I mean, come on. Tell me how my users get help in 1 minute here and not in a week. Come on. How are we going to have our rooms not down? Tell me. Come on. No! Get rid of it. AV as a service must die, and die now. But I don't want everything to end on a bad note. Let's have something we can all agree on. Go Villa!
My item I'd like to put into AV Room 101 is manufacturer training. Specifically, when you send a group of engineers on a 3-day training course in which they spend more than half their time sitting through sales pitches. They're not there to purchase. They're not in a position within the company to purchase. So let's not waste everyone's time and simply teach them what they're there to learn.
The margin is in the mystery. I hate that phrase because the margin is no longer in the mystery. We are not purveyors of this little magic thing that nobody knows about, that nobody's seen before, that only we have in our bag, that we've now brought out. Look, it does all these things. That is no longer our role. People have access to the information. Our job is no longer to be this purveyor of information. Our job is to execute. And our job is to help their learning curve. They've learned 60% of it. Gartner says they've learned, they're 59% away through the process before they ever call us. They've already done research. They've already explored products. Pretty much by the time they call us, they're exploring how much it costs is where they're at. And so our job at that point is to make sure that we are helping them as an educator, make sure we vet the information they've learned, honor the work that they've done, but also help them maybe connect those little tiny dots that they didn't quite see because we do this every day and they don't. And if we can start to do those little things and guide them through the process, then we become invaluable. And the interesting thing is I hear people all the time, I get put out to bid over 5%, or I lost that job over 5%. Well, if it's a government job in the US, yeah, that's going to happen to you. But if it's a corporate client and you're losing a job over 5%, you're doing something wrong. Because the biggest cost a business can have is interruption. And if they have to change their process, learn new people, change the way they do things to save this 5%, it means something was going wrong before that is encouraging them to go through that pain, right? That everything wasn't perfect and you lost for 5%. You didn't have your eyes open.